The streets are on fire right now, and I mean LA has not breathed properly in 48 hours. Twitter is melting down, IG comments look like a war zone, and hip-hop fans across the world are clutching their headphones like, ain't no way this just happened. Because in the past day, something wild, something damn near apocalyptic hit the culture. The Game allegedly just got banned from the LA hip-hop scene, all because he dissed Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, that Kendrick. The same Kendrick who's been on a cosmic winning streak. The same Kendrick who dropped nukes on the entire rap industry this year. The same Kendrick who made cities choose sides. And apparently, the Game chose the wrong one. Overnight, a supposed leaked clip, a scratchy, half-finished diss track, started circulating. People swore they heard Game taking shots at Kendrick, TDE, PG Lang, even mutual friends who have kept those two connected for years. And once that audio hit the algorithm, the timeline exploded. Fans were shocked, rappers were silent, OGs were disappointed. Emotions ran high, accusations flew, and the rumors got darker by the hour. Some say the clip was a setup. Others say Game recorded it months ago, and someone dropped it out of spite. And then there are the conspiracy theorists. The ones who always pop out when LA politics get messy, claiming Kendrick's camp made some calls, and doors started closing for Game instantly. Before we keep going, a quick disclaimer. This story mixes real events with fictionalized scenes for entertainment purposes. Not everything here is confirmed, some details are dramatized, some are rumors, some are straight-up narrative. But one thing's real, the chaos. Because what happened next, what happened after that leak hit the streets? Yeah, here's what really happened. When that leaked audio hit the streets, it didn't just shake the city. It cracked open a vault of old grudges, unspoken tension, and quiet alliances that had been holding the LA hip-hop ecosystem together like duct tape. Suddenly, every blogger, every wannabe insider, every former friend who hadn't texted Game since 2014 started acting like they had exclusive info. And the way the rumors spread, it was like someone poured gasoline on dry brush and lit a match just to watch the flames dance. The clip itself was barely audible, a raspy studio recording, Game's voice drifting in and out like whoever leaked it hit record on an Android with a cracked screen. But you could hear enough. The disrespect was there. The frustration was there. And in a city where loyalty is treated like currency, people acted like Game tried to rob the whole bank. Sources say the audio came from a late-night session in North Hollywood, one of those dark rooms where lost dreams and big egos mix like toxic chemicals. Allegedly, Game had been venting about being left out the conversation, left out the Mount Rushmore talk, left out the new wave of LA unity that Kendrick had unintentionally become the face of. They forgot who really carried this city, Game's voice muttered in the clip. They forgot who put blood, sweat, and mixtapes into this. Fans immediately took that as a shot at Kendrick, and once fans decide something is a diss, it's a diss. No going back. Within an hour, a Reddit thread titled "Game Just Dug His Own Grave" had hit 20,000 upvotes. Twitter accounts with cartoon Avi.s were posting, "Game better move to Vegas before sunset." Even TDE fan pages were throwing digital tomatoes like they had a personal stake in it. It got so bad, so fast, that even people who weren't trying to be involved were suddenly getting tagged in drama. One of Kendrick's producers hopped on Twitter and tweeted a single emoji, the side-eye. Just one. That alone caused a 4-hour meltdown across hip-hop blogs. Some fans swore that meant, yes, beef confirmed. Others said it was a warning. A few insisted it was unrelated and that people were just reading too much into things. But in this climate, that emoji might as well have been a nuclear threat. Meanwhile, Game was silent, not a tweet, not an IG story, not even a shady like on a post. And silence is deadly in hip-hop. Silence means either you're plotting or you're panicking. Allegedly, behind closed doors, Game was furious. Not just about the clip, but about the fact that someone leaked it. According to unconfirmed rumors, he stormed into his studio with two of his closest homies, demanding to know who had been in the room that night, who had access to the files, and who might have been holding a grudge. "Man, somebody trying to play with my name," he supposedly said, pacing back and forth across the hardwood floor. "Somebody trying to start a war I didn't sign up for." His engineer, a skinny dude everyone calls Flip, tried to calm him down. "Game, think about it. You said some stuff that night. People talk, But maybe this wasn't personal. Game snapped back instantly. It's always personal. You don't leak a man's pain for fun. Somebody wants to see me fall. Flip didn't respond. He didn't need to. Because the truth was hanging thick in the air, Game had enemies. Not just rap enemies, not just industry enemies. Real ones. Ones who would love nothing more than to watch him get turned into a trending topic for the wrong reasons. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, a very different conversation was happening. In a dimly lit room in downtown LA, allegedly, and I mean allegedly, some key figures in the LA hip-hop ecosystem held a quiet, private meeting. No cameras, no phones, no bro, just getting BTS footage nonsense. Just powerful voices, old connections, and people who wanted the city to stay unified under Kendrick's recent momentum. One figure, described by sources as an OG with Pull You Ka Google, reportedly leaned back in his chair and said, "If Game wanna go against Kendrick right now, that's bad for the city. That's bad for business. That's bad for everybody." Another nodded, "He's causing noise, and right now we can't have noise." The tone was clear. This wasn't a conversation about music. This was about politics, power, control. The kind of behind-the-scenes chess game fans don't see, but rappers feel every day. One of them allegedly said something that instantly spread through the underground grapevine. "If he keeps talking wild, he gon' find out LA ain't got room for old beef." The phrase banned from LA hip-hop started circulating online like wildfire. And once that phrase hit TikTok, it was over. Kids were lip-syncing it. Commentary pages made 5-part threads. YouTubers filmed emergency videos with titles like "Game Just Lost Everything." And in the middle of all this, Kendrick. Silent, strategic, untouchable. People close to him, again, "This is all rumored," said Kendrick wasn't even paying attention to the chaos. He was in the studio, in his creative bubble, not even acknowledging the noise. "Kendrick ain't worried about no diss," a supposed insider told a blogger. "He's too busy working on big things." But the absence of a response from Kendrick made everything 100 times worse. Fans interpreted that silence however they wanted. Some said Kendrick was being mature. Others said he was planning something nuclear. A few wild ones were tweeting, "Kendrick gone, respond with a 12-minute verse that erases history." Back at Game's house in Calabasas, things were unraveling. His phone wouldn't stop buzzing. The house was buzzing. His team was buzzing. His manager, T, finally grabbed him by the arm and pulled him into the home office. "We need to handle this," T said, closing the door. "Handle what?" Game replied, though he already knew the answer. "Bro, you trending top 3 worldwide. People think you dissed Kendrick. LA is acting weird, promoters canceling things. Radio stations hitting me with 'will circle back.' It's giving problem." Game let out a deep sigh and finally sat down. "It wasn't even a diss. I was venting. Y'all know how I get when I'm faded." They took a moment and turned it into a war announcement. T sat across from him. "It doesn't matter. People think it's a diss, and perception is everything." A beat of silence passed. Game finally said, "So what you want me to do? Apologize? Bow down?" "Nobody said bow down," T replied. "But you gotta clarify something before this gets worse." But Game wasn't convinced. "If I go online and say my bad, they gon' clown me. If I stay silent, I look guilty. Either way, they painting me like the villain." Before T could answer, another phone buzzed. Flip peeked into the room. "Yo, you need to hear this." He pressed play on a new audio clip, a second leak. This one was worse. This one had Game yelling something like, "Kendrick don't run LA, I've been here before him and I'll be here after." Even though the line was clearly taken out of context, it sounded mid-argument, mid-rant, mid-everything, the damage was done. It was enough for the internet to lose its collective mind all over again. And that's when things really started spiraling. Twitter was screaming. Neighborhoods were whispering. Rappers who hadn't tweeted in months suddenly had things to say. A popular LA DJ posted, "Respect is everything in the city, everything." And fans took that as confirmation that Game had officially crossed a line. Meanwhile, on a late-night live stream, a young rapper from Compton who had beef with Game from years back hopped online and said, "Man, I been telling y'all. Dude been jealous. Dude been salty. Kendrick ain't even thinking about him, but he wanna start fires." That clip got 2 million views in 6 hours. And in the middle of the digital chaos, A new rumor hit the streets that a certain festival one game had headlined before suddenly removed him from their shortlist. No official reason, no statement, just gone. People were saying, yeah, that's that quiet ban, that's LA politics. And allegedly, one person from the festival staff leaked a text message where someone higher up wrote, "We can't have him on stage right now. Too messy." Whether the message was real or fake didn't matter. The narrative was locked in. The game was being pushed out. But why? And by who? And what was coming next? The second leak didn't just pour fuel on the fire, it dropped a whole flamethrower into the center of LA. Suddenly, people who'd been watching from the sidelines were now locked in, analyzing every syllable like it was a conspiracy case. Fans were cutting the audio, isolating frequencies, throwing it into AI enhancers, and posting breakdown. Here's what game really said, videos that got hundreds of thousands of views overnight. But while the internet was doing detective work, the real drama was unfolding offline. Game's camp was spiraling. The mansion felt like a pressure cooker about to explode. Voices were raised, doors were slamming. Texts were coming in faster than people could open them. It wasn't just the public backlash, it was the political tension. Something deeper. Something that couldn't be fixed with a Notes app apology. Flip called an emergency team meeting right in the living room. Everyone pulled up Manager T, the publicist, the label liaison, even one of Game's cousins who had no business in the room but refused to leave. The energy was electric, chaotic, and emotional. "This ain't a little PR cleanup," the publicist said, pacing the floor with her hands on her temples. "This is a narrative being built. Someone is pushing this." T nodded. "Facts. It feels targeted." Game's cousin chimed in, "Man, this is giving setup. This is giving somebody wants him off the board." Flip shook his head. But why leak studio audio? Why now? The question lingered like smoke in the air, thick, heavy, unanswerable. Game finally broke his silence. He stood up, his voice low but intense. "Y'all acting like I asked for this. I didn't diss nobody on purpose. I didn't come at Kendrick. I spoke my truth for 2 seconds and somebody twisted it." The publicist sighed. "Even if you didn't mean it as a diss, the city took it that way." "And Kendrick?" Game asked. "Kendrick don't have to say a word," T replied. "The whole city gonna speak for him." Those words stung, because they were true. Outside the industry circle, LA was buzzing with a very different type of conversation. Street corners, barbershops, late-night food spots. Everywhere you went, people were debating it like it was a championship game. "Man, Game wildin' for that," one dude said outside a Crenshaw taco stand, slapping his friend's arm. "You don't go at Kendrick, not in 2025, not when he running the culture." His friend shook his head. "Man, y'all acting like Kendrick God. Game been here forever. He paved the way for half these dudes." "Yeah, but times change," someone else cut in. "And right now, Kendrick got the crown. Game trying to start beef with the one dude you can't touch." The city was literally divided. Younger fans rode for Kendrick. Older heads defended Game. And the people in between? They just watched the chaos unfold like it was free entertainment. But then came the twist nobody expected. Late that night, IG pages started posting another rumor that someone from Kendrick's side had reached out to Game's team privately. No details, no screenshots, just whispers of a message. Some said it was a warning. Others said it was a respectful request. One blog even claimed it was an ultimatum. Allegedly, the message said, "Handle this before it gets handled for you." The moment that line hit the internet, everything exploded again. People were arguing about who sent it, whether Kendrick even knew about it, whether someone was pretending to be his people to stir drama. But one thing was clear. The tension was no longer just online. By the next morning, Game's Manager T had 3 missed calls from promoters, 2 cancellations, and 1 indefinite pause. Something bigger was moving behind the curtain. Something coordinated, something calculated. In a moment of exhaustion, T slammed his phone onto the table. "This is bad, real bad. You practically banned from half the city before noon." "I ain't banned from nowhere," Game snapped, but his voice wavered just a little. Flip sat down next to him. "Bro, listen, this isn't just fans being dramatic. People in the industry are stepping back, everybody's scared to pick a side." The room fell silent, then the doorbell rang. A long, drawn-out buzz that made everyone look up. Game frowned. "Who the hell?" Flip checked the security cam. Bro, it's your old A&R, Game raised an eyebrow. Old A&R, the one who dipped on me for TDE. Yeah, him. The whole room went tense. Game opened the door and there he was, Marcus, tall, calm, wearing all black like a man who came with news he didn't want to deliver. The two hadn't spoken in nearly a decade, and Marcus wasn't the type to casually stop by. They stepped into the foyer. Marcus lowered his voice. Look, man, I came here because it's getting serious. Game crossed his arms. Serious how? Marcus took a slow breath. I'm hearing things, people talking, rooms you're not in are having conversations about you. What kind of conversations? The kind that end careers. Game's jaw tightened. Over a damn leaked rant. Over a misunderstanding? It's not about what you said, Marcus replied. It's about how it looks. The city is moving with Kendrick. Anyone who threatens that unity, they gonna get pushed out. Game stared at him in disbelief. So that's it, I'm canceled because Kendrick hot right now? Marcus shook his head. It's deeper. Politics, money, influence, you know how this works. Game stepped closer. You came here to warn me. I came here to tell you this. Marcus paused, looking him dead in the eyes. There's a meeting set for tonight. Some important people. They're deciding how to respond to all this. Respond how? Marcus didn't blink. You don't want them to decide without hearing your side first. Game froze. The idea that a room full of LA shot callers was being organized to judge him like some kind of rap tribunal. It sounded insane, but also exactly like the kind of thing that happens behind closed doors. Where? Game asked. Marcus hesitated. Warehouse District, midnight. Flip jumped in. This sounds like a trap. Marcus turned to him. It's not a trap, it's a chance. A chance to stop this before it gets worse. Game clenched his fists, thinking. Then he said something nobody in that room expected to hear. I'm going. His team erupted. T grabbed his arm. Bro, no. You can't just walk into a room full of people who mad at you. The publicist threw her hands up. This is how rappers end up in documentaries. But Game shook his head. If they want to talk, I'll talk. I'm not running. I'm not hiding. I built my name in the city. I ain't letting nobody rewrite my story. Flip stared at him, eyes wide. You sure? Game nodded once. Slow, solid. I'm sure. As the sun started to set over Los Angeles, the city buzzed with even more rumors. Some said Game was preparing a diss track. Others said Kendrick's people were preparing one. A few dramatic YouTubers claimed there was going to be a confrontation in the streets. But the truth was stranger and more dangerous than any rumor. At midnight, the Game was about to walk into a private meeting that could decide his fate in LA hip-hop forever. And he had no idea who would be waiting on the other side of that door. Midnight in the Warehouse District always has a certain vibe, quiet, eerie, like the air is holding its breath. The streets were empty, except for a few flickering lights, abandoned crates, and the low hum of the city in the distance. It didn't feel like Los Angeles. It felt like a movie set where something dangerous was about to go down. Game pulled up in a black SUV, engine humming low. Flip drove. T sat in the passenger seat, gripping the door like it owed him money. Nobody talked during the ride. The tension was too thick, too electric, too real. As they turned the corner, they saw it, a huge warehouse with no signs, no markings, no windows. Just a slab of concrete hiding 1,000 secrets. And parked outside were cars they recognized. Vehicles belonging to LA insiders, OGs, executives, people you only see at invitation-only dinners, and you didn't hear this from me meetings. This is giving trap, Flip muttered, pulling the SUV into a shadowed spot. T exhaled sharply. Bro, we really doing this? Game didn't answer. He stepped out of the vehicle and adjusted his hoodie. He wasn't dressed for war, just for honesty, or so he hoped. They walked toward the steel door, each footstep echoing like a countdown. Marcus stood waiting, hands in his pockets, eyes tense. You sure about this? He asked quietly. Game nodded. Open it. Inside, the warehouse was dim, lit by hanging bulbs and a single long table. Around it sat 12 people. Some faces familiar, some not. Some people Game had grown up respecting. Others he'd spent years avoiding. But what made the room go ice cold was the chair at the far end. Empty, but clearly reserved. The chair nobody expected to see. The chair that said someone powerful was supposed to show up, but hadn't yet. A murmur rippled through the room when Game walked in. Not anger, not fear, Something worse, disappointment. One OG leaned back, heavy chain glinting in the light. "You really showed up," he said, not smiling. Most dudes would have ran. Game stood tall. "I got nothing to hide." Another voice, a woman in a tailored suit, spoke next. "This isn't about hiding. This is about understanding the damage you caused." Game clenched his jaw. "Damage from a leaked rant. From disrespect," the OG corrected. "Intentional or not." Marcus motioned for Game to sit, but Game stayed standing. "I'll talk standing. I didn't come here to bow to nobody." A few people exchanged looks. Flip swallowed hard. T muttered under his breath, "Lord, help us." The woman in the suit tapped her fingers on the table. "Let's start simple. Did you or did you not record audio insulting Kendrick Lamar?" Game took a breath. "I didn't insult Kendrick. I talked about my place in the city, about my legacy. The audio y'all heard, that was frustration. That was me venting in a studio at 2 a.m. "So it was you," one man said sharply. "Yeah, it was me. But it wasn't a diss." A heavy silence followed. Then the OG laughed once, dry, humorless. "You think the streets care about context? You think bloggers care about what you meant? No, they care about what they hear." And what they heard was a man challenging the one dude right now who has brought more unity to LA than anyone since Nip. Game felt the hit. Hard. "So what?" he said. "We can't speak our mind anymore." "You can speak," the woman replied. "But everything you say has weight. And lately, your words been heavy in the wrong direction." T stepped forward. "With respect, this isn't fair. Someone leaked that audio. Someone set him up." Everyone in the room went still. The OG's eyes narrowed. "You saying somebody in LA trying to push Game out?" "Yes," T said boldly. "And y'all helping them." Before anyone could respond, the steel door at the back of the warehouse creaked open. Everyone turned. A man stepped in. Tall, hoodie up. Face hidden, but the room reacted instantly. Flip whispered, "No way." T froze, speechless. Marcus lowered his head. And Game's heart slammed against his ribs. Because even though the hood shadowed his face, the walk, the posture, the aura, there was no mistaking it. Kendrick Lamar had arrived. The room shifted like gravity had changed. Conversations died. Chairs scraped. The tension didn't double, it multiplied. Kendrick walked slowly, calmly, like he wasn't stepping into the center of the most volatile situation in LA hip-hop. He didn't sit in the empty chair. He stood behind it. Silent. Watching, waiting, the woman in the suit cleared her throat. "We didn't expect you, Kendrick." "I wasn't coming," Kendrick said quietly, voice almost too soft to hear. "But then I heard some things." Game didn't blink. "You here to judge me too?" Kendrick tilted his head. "Nah, I'm here to hear you. From you, not from leaks, not from rumors, from you." The room went dead silent. It was the first time the two had spoken, even indirectly, since the chaos started. Game exhaled, steadying himself. "Since you here, listen. I didn't diss you. I didn't disrespect you. I said some things about my legacy. Yeah, I got heated. But that audio, that wasn't meant for the world." Kendrick stepped closer, eyes focused. "But the world heard it. Not because of me." Kendrick nodded. "True." He pulled out a phone and placed it on the table. A cracked phone, old, beat up. The kind only a studio runner or intern would carry. "This," Kendrick said, "was found in the studio where you recorded that night." Flip stepped forward. "Wait, what?" Kendrick tapped the screen. The wallpaper lit up, a photo of someone Flip recognized immediately. An ex-engineer. A dude Game fired months ago after a blow-up argument over payments, credits, and loyalty. The OG slammed his fist on the table. "So this was personal, someone had a vendetta." Kendrick looked at Game, voice calm. "He leaked it, both clips." Flip muttered, "I knew something was off about that dude." Kendrick raised a hand, silencing the room. "But here's the thing," Kendrick continued. "Once it's out, it don't matter who leaked it. What matters is what we do next." Game stepped forward. "So what you saying?" Kendrick's eyes were unreadable. "I'm saying this city been through too much to let old ego battles tear it down again. People watching us, kids watching us, the whole culture watching us, and they think we beefing." Game scoffed. "Because of a clip. Because of history," Kendrick corrected. "Because of narratives people ready to believe." The room buzzed with tension. The woman in the suit leaned in. "So Kendrick, what do you want to happen?" Kendrick looked at Game, then at the room, then back at Game. "I want him to speak his truth," Kendrick said. In public, not in a warehouse, not in a studio rant. I want him to tell the city what happened, and I'll back it, but he has to say it right. Game folded his arms. You want me to apologize? Kendrick shrugged. Say what's real, that you weren't coming at me, that someone leaked your private convo, that the city don't need fake beef. And if I do? Game asked. Kendrick's answer was calm. Almost too calm. Then the streets decide. Flip's jaw dropped. T ran a hand down his face. Marcus whispered, Bro, just take the out. Game stared at Kendrick. Two kings of LA, two generations, two legacies colliding. Finally, Game spoke. Fine, I'll do it, but on MY terms, in MY voice. No PR scripts, no damage control, real talk. Kendrick nodded once. Then that's good enough. He stepped back, pulled up his hood, and walked out the same way he came, silent, cool, untouchable. The meeting ended seconds later. But the consequences, those were only beginning. Because by sunrise, a brand new leaked audio would hit the internet that changed everything. And this time, it was Game's. It was someone else's voice, someone plotting behind the scenes, someone who did not want peace. And once that leak dropped, the entire narrative flipped upside down, and LA was thrown into a whole new level of chaos. By the next morning, LA woke up to a new storm, bigger, uglier, and louder than anything that had hit the city in years. People grabbed their phones expecting the usual night shift drama, a new meme, a random fight video, maybe a rapper subtweeting someone at 3 a.m. But what they got instead was a shockwave, a brand new audio leak. And this one didn't feature Game or Kendrick. This leak exposed someone way deeper, because at 7:14 a.m., a clip labeled Secret Call About Game Full Audio began circulating on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, everywhere. It spread like wildfire. Within an hour, it hit 1 million plays, then 2 million, then 5. The wild part, it was Game's voice. It was Kendrick's voice. It was the voice of a well-known LA mover, someone considered neutral, peaceful, respected. A man who sat in that warehouse meeting like he was there to help mediate. His voice was clear as day, caught on a secret phone recording. And he wasn't mediating anything. He was planning, plotting, instigating. You hear him say in a low, conspiratorial tone, Nah, let that clip drop. Let people think he came for Kendrick. We gone let the city turn on him. He been talkin' too reckless lately. Time to humble him. Fans were stunned. Comment sections were unhinged. Bloggers were eating up the chaos like popcorn. Even reaction channels that usually covered pranks were suddenly breaking down hip-hop politics like they had PhDs in it. Because the audio was clear. No editing, no distortion, no confusion, it was betrayal. The voice belonged to Tone Mercer, an LA executive and OG figure who had worked with Game years ago, later distanced himself, and more recently started cozying up to the new wave artists surrounding Kendrick's meteoric rise. The kind of guy who shook everyone's hand but played his own game behind the curtain. People had always said he was two-faced. Now they had proof. One line from the recording started trending globally. Let the city handle him. For 48 hours, that sentence sat on the internet like a landmine. Game's house felt like ground zero. He and his team crowded around Flip's laptop, listening to the leaked audio on loop. Every time they replayed it, the shock hit just as hard. T slammed the table. I knew it. I said it felt like a setup. Flip pointed at the screen. Bro literally said he wanted the clip leaked. He wanted the beef. Game rubbed his temples. Why, though? What'd he gain by trying to turn LA on me? He don't gotta gain nothing, T snapped. He just want you to lose. The betrayal burned. Tone had been in rooms with Game back when Game was still hungry, still building, still fighting for space in an industry that didn't want to make room. He'd smiled in photos next to him, toasted with him at release parties, whispered in his ear about future moves. And the whole time, allegedly plotting this. But the twist was only getting deeper. Because a second clip dropped within the hour, this one, a voicemail tone, left someone the night the first leak came out. Don't worry, he gone drown in this. They'll cancel the man themselves. That line sent shockwaves across the internet. Fans went feral. Comment sections were being flooded faster than moderators could delete things. Tone Mercer exposed. Tone is canceled. Free Game. This city fake. LA politics messy AF. Tone is the villain Alex Jones warned us about, and every other memorable phrase you can imagine. Twitter was on fire. Instagram was on fire. Even Facebook aunties were reposting the leaked audio like it was breaking news. But the scariest part? Someone sent the audio to Kendrick, allegedly, and Kendrick's reaction? That became the next rumor storm. Sources claimed Kendrick texted someone, "I didn't ask for this." Others said he was annoyed. A few dramatic blogs swore he punched a wall, but that was probably cap. Still, one thing was clear. Someone had lied to everyone. Tone had been pushing the narrative from the shadows, manipulating bloggers, dropping pieces of the recording to amplify the beef, and positioning himself as the peacemaker while secretly orchestrating the chaos. And Kendrick. He was being dragged into a storm he didn't even start. Meanwhile, a third audio surfaced, this one even crazier. Tone's voice again. And this time he said something that flipped the entire narrative. "I don't care what Kendrick wants. He too soft to handle it. This a city decision." Fans lost their minds. Tone Mercer had just implied he was. Speaking for Kendrick. People were furious. Comment sections became war zones between Kendrick fans, Game supporters, people who hated Tone already, and random trolls spamming L+ ratio. Within hours, Tone issued an emergency statement on Instagram, a blurry black text notes app apology that said, "These recordings are edited, taken out of context. I love LA, I love everyone involved. We should all move with love." Not a single person believed him. In fact, the apology made things worse. People started digging through old interviews, old tweets, old associations, trying to piece together what else Tone might have been pulling strings on. It turned into a whole digital manhunt. Flip scrolled through the comments shaking his head. This man finished, cooked, stick a fork in him. But Game was quiet, too quiet. T turned to him. "Bro, what you thinking?" Game finally spoke, voice calm but dangerous. "I'm thinking the city owes me an apology, and someone gone give it to me." The tension in the room was insane. That evening, another twist hit the timeline. Someone from Kendrick's circle, allegedly, posted a cryptic story. Truth always rises. Just that, black background, white text. Fans immediately tied it to the leaked betrayal. Some thought it meant Kendrick was distancing from Tone. Others thought it meant Kendrick was siding with Game. A few conspiracy theorists claimed the message was AI-generated and dropped by a bot. But inside LA, inside the real LA, people were talking in the barbershops, street corners, and studios. Kendrick not messing with Tone. Kendrick mad he got dragged into this. Kendrick knew Tone was doing too much. Game and Kendrick might actually be cool now. This whole city looking fake. Everything was spiraling. Meanwhile, Game decided to go on IG Live. Flip tried to stop him. "Bro, no. This is how Rue Williams ruined his whole career." T added, "Once you press that live button, there's no going back." But Game didn't care. He pressed live. Within 30 seconds, the viewer count hit 20K, then 40K, then 100K. Celebrities started popping in the chat. Fans were typing essays. Blog pages were screen recording from 3 different angles. Game looked into the camera with a calm, heavy stare. "I'm not beefing with Kendrick," he said. "Let's get that clear right now. Someone tried to make that happen. Someone leaked something I ain't authorized, twisted my words, and tried to turn LA against me." Comments exploded. Game continued, "I talked to Kendrick, man to man. He ain't on this weird energy. He ain't trying to divide nothing." Meanwhile, someone else been trying to turn this whole situation into a circus. The viewer count hit 250K. People were screaming in the comments. "Name HIM. Drop the name. Who did IT? Say ITTTTTTTT." Game paused, looked straight into the camera, and said one name, Tone Mercer. The chat went nuclear. People were typing so fast the screen couldn't keep up. Bloggers were collapsing in their chairs. Tone Mercer's name trended worldwide in under 3 minutes. Game ended the live abruptly. Flip slumped on the couch. "Bro, that was the most gangsta TED Talk of all time." T rubbed his temples. "You gonna break the internet?" Game leaned back quiet, but the city wasn't done. Because while Game's live was trending, a new video started circulating. Grainy, shaky, shot on a phone from behind a car window. It showed Tone Mercer, the man responsible for all this chaos, arguing with someone outside a studio. Yelling, gesturing wildly, punching the side of a car in frustration. People swore he screamed, "I told y'all this would backfire." Whether he said it or not didn't matter. The clip hit 12 million views in 4 hours. Tone Mercer's reputation was crumbling. The entire city was turning on him. And Game, for the first time in days, the narrative was shifting in his favor. But peace. Nah, this story was nowhere near done. Because as the sun set over LA that night, a mysterious anonymous account dropped a chilling message on Twitter. "You think Tone was the only one." The tweet went viral instantly, and suddenly, everyone realized there were more players in this, more voices, more snakes, more secrets, and the real mastermind hadn't been revealed yet. And just like that, the entire city of Los Angeles found itself standing on the edge of a cliff, one push away from total hip-hop chaos. What started as a scratchy little leaked rant spiraled into a full-blown war of politics, betrayal, secret meetings, and behind-the-scenes power plays nobody was supposed to hear. Tone Mercer got exposed, Kendrick stayed silent but strategic and Game walked through the fire and came out scorched but standing. But the craziest part, the story isn't even close to over, because the streets are whispering that Tone wasn't the only one pulling strings. People are talking about hidden alliances, jealous executives, faded friendships turned sour, and a whole network of industry puppeteers who wanted Game out the picture long before the leak dropped. There are rumors that another audio exists, the real one, the one that names the mastermind who allegedly wanted Game banned from LA hip-hop forever. Fans are divided. Twitter is doing detective work. Reddit is building conspiracy charts. The energy online is insane. Some people think Game is being framed. Others think he's covering up something way bigger. A few say Kendrick knows more than he's saying. And the wildest theory, that this whole situation was staged to test loyalty inside the industry. Real, fake, set up, organic chaos. At this point, anything is possible, which brings us to you. Do you think this whole situation was authentic? Was Game really being pushed out? Was Kendrick dragged into something he never wanted? Or was this whole thing a perfectly timed Hollywood-style rollout cooked up behind closed doors? Let us know, because the comment section is about to go crazy. Smash that like button, hit subscribe so you don't miss part 2, and drop your hottest theory down below. Who leaked what? Who's lying? Who's really in control? We'll be watching, and trust me, the next chapter is going to be even wilder.